Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I've got an incredible story about how one chance encounter changed two lives forever. Tony Stark, the renowned industrialist and superhero known as Iron Man, walks down a quiet street in the early morning light. The city is just waking up, golden rays streaming between skyscrapers. He's dressed casually but expensively. Designer sunglasses, a vintage Black Sabbath t-shirt under a tailored navy jacket, premium jeans, and handcrafted Italian shoes. His characteristic goatee is perfectly trimmed, and despite the early hour, he carries himself with the confident swagger that had become his trademark since announcing to the world, "I am Iron Man." The street is mostly empty, save for a few early morning commuters hurrying to work and shopkeepers preparing to open for the day. Tony enjoys these rare moments of solitude, away from the chaos of Avengers business, board meetings, and the constant spotlight of fame. The crisp morning air fills his lungs as he contemplates the prototype prosthetic arm he'd been developing all night in his lab, a breakthrough that could change lives without requiring a weapons contract. As Tony strolls, deep in thought about energy transfer efficiency and neural interface improvements, something catches his eye. On the worn concrete stairs of an abandoned building sits an older man surrounded by his meager possessions, a threadbare army blanket, a small plastic bag containing what appears to be clothing, and a half-eaten sandwich carefully wrapped in deli paper. Despite his circumstances, there's a quiet dignity in how the man has arranged his few belongings. A small American flag patch is visible on his faded jacket. Tony slows his pace, then stops completely. Something about the man's resilient spirit reminds him of himself during his darkest moments of captivity in Afghanistan years ago, when everything had been stripped away except his will to survive and create. After a moment's hesitation, Tony turns around and approaches the stairs. "Morning," Tony says, removing his sunglasses. The morning light reveals the subtle lines around his eyes, evidence of years spent battling threats both terrestrial and cosmic. The homeless man looks up, startled by the unexpected greeting. His weathered face, creased by years of hardship, registers surprise followed by recognition. His eyes widen slightly. "You're Tony Stark, yes," Tony finishes with a gentle smile, sitting down on the step beside him, leaving a respectful distance between them. "Mind if I join you for a minute?" The view from here is actually pretty decent. The man stiffens, clearly unaccustomed to such attention, especially from someone of Tony's status. "Free country," he replies cautiously, his voice gravelly from disuse. They sit in companionable silence for a moment, watching the city come alive. A delivery truck rumbles past. The smell of fresh bread wafts from a nearby bakery. "Nice day," Tony offers, breaking the silence. "Better than rain," the man responds, relaxing slightly. He glances sideways at Tony. "Don't usually see your type in this neighborhood, especially not stopping to chat with folks like me." "My type?" Tony raises an eyebrow, a hint of his characteristic humor returning. "Dashingly handsome genius billionaires? Yeah, we're pretty rare." Unexpectedly, the man chuckles, a rusty sound as if long unused. "That's what I mean. Most people walk by, pretend I'm invisible." Tony nods, suddenly serious. "I know something about being seen only for what people expect to see." The man studies Tony more carefully now. "Frank Miller," he offers finally, extending a calloused hand. "Tony Stark," Tony replies, shaking the offered hand firmly. "But you knew that," Frank nods. Hard not to recognize the man who flies around in a metal suit saving the world. As the city awakens around them, their conversation deepens. Frank reveals he served 3 tours overseas before returning home to find his skills didn't translate to civilian life. A combination of PTSD, a struggling economy, and bad luck led him here. His family, a sister in Ohio, thinks he's doing fine. His pride prevents him from telling her otherwise. Tony listens intently, asking thoughtful questions, showing genuine interest in Frank's story. He recognizes in Frank's eyes the same haunted look he sometimes sees in his own reflection. The look of someone who's seen too much, who carries invisible burdens. "You know, I was captured once," Tony says quietly. "In Afghanistan, before Iron Man, had nothing but the clothes on my back and a car battery keeping shrapnel from shredding my heart." He taps his chest where the arc reactor once was. "Makes you realize what matters. I own a building about 6 blocks from here. Tony says, handing Frank the card. One of my foundation's projects. Recently renovated old warehouse converted to apartments. Address is on the back. Apartment 12B is yours if you want it. Fully furnished, paid up for the year. No strings attached. Frank stares at the card in disbelief, turning it over in his rough hands as if expecting it to vanish. Why would you do this for me? You don't even know me. Tony stands, brushing off his jeans and putting his sunglasses back on. Because someone once gave me a second chance when I needed it most. His mind briefly flashes to Yinsen, who sacrificed everything so Tony could escape that cave. Sometimes that's all anyone needs. A place to start again? Frank's weathered face shows a complex mixture of emotions. Suspicion, hope, pride, and gratitude wrestling for dominance. There's a veterans support group that meets in the building's community room on Thursdays. Tony adds casually. Good people. Some job placement services, too. Completely optional, of course. Frank clutches the key card tightly. I can't just... You can, Tony interrupts gently. And maybe someday when you're back on your feet, you'll help someone else who needs it. That's how it works. As Tony walks away, Frank calls after him. Mr. Stark, thank you. Tony turns, the morning sun now fully illuminating the street behind him, creating an almost cinematic silhouette. He offers a small smile and nod before continuing down the street, already making mental notes to have Friday set up a more comprehensive veterans housing initiative through the Stark Foundation. As he rounds the corner, Tony pulls out his phone. Friday, remind me to check in on apartment 12B next week, and let's expand the housing program to all 5 boroughs. Of course, boss, the AI responds. Shall I prepare the paperwork for the board? Tony smiles, thinking of Frank and countless others like him. Yeah, it's time we did more of this kind of hero work, the kind that doesn't need a suit. Behind him, Frank Miller stands on the stairs, key card in hand, looking toward the address on the back. For the first time in years, he feels something he'd almost forgotten. I hope this story touched your heart as much as it did mine. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, remember that sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who help others start again.